Hello and welcome back to another Last of Us video, and today we do my review for The Last of Us Season 1 Episode 8, and as always there'll be slight spoilers, so be warned for that. With that out of the way, let's jump right to my review and summarise this episode. So in this episode, it adapts the winter section of the game from start to finish. In the episode, we have Joel who's not very well. Ellie goes out to try and find food and medicine, gets Joel medicine, but ends up being captured by David and this new group. And then we have a second story with Joel trying to go and save Ellie, and the episode ends with them two finally reuniting. This episode really streamlines a lot of the game, and it definitely works. I prefer the episode story over the game story because I feel like the winter section is the worst part of the game, and it is very much drawn out and has a lot of fluff that is not very interesting. In the show, they drop all that, they make this a way more compact episode, and I definitely enjoyed this way more because they didn't stretch out. The pacing is very good, and they tried to keep this episode about an hour instead of being an hour and a half long, and they kept it very much 50 Joel, 50 Ellie, as it really worked. As Joel has been sidelined a lot recently, it's good to have an episode that has somewhat focus on a Joel plot. So it very much works for me, and it's a big win. They did also add some other things into this episode, like a small mini thing on fleshing out the cannibals and David, and it really does work. It really makes you care about these characters, and they're not just bad guys for bad guys. We understand that these characters are being pushed to their limits, they're starving, and they have to eat humans. They are going to die otherwise. So it's very good for us to have some sort of sympathy for David and the cannibals. I do also like that they even gave a little backstory to the guy Joel killed in episode 6. We find out he was a father, and how Joel personally affected people and ruined people's lives by defending Ellie. So I liked that fleshing out, and it really humanized these characters in such a good way. And the casting for David is hands down perfect. He really works, unlike Kathleen, and he is very sinister. I really like David, and they fleshed him out a little. We gave a backstory to him, and they changed him to being a preacher and changing the entire cannibals into being more religious and kind of cult-like. Even Ellie calls him out on it. And I think it works. It definitely works at adding more to these villains, who in the game are just there to be, we eat people. So I was going into this episode a bit worried because of what they did to the hunters. They might butcher the cannibals too, but they did the opposite. They improved the cannibals. It was also really cool to see Troy Baker in this episode, and it's good that they're giving the original cast roles in the show. The only issue is I definitely think he should have been one of the cannibals that were tortured by Joel, so that both Joels could have shared a scene together and not had him be James. It's very weird that they gave him James out of all the characters. It just felt very weird seeing the original star of The Last of Us get such a small role when other co-stars for him have way bigger roles in the show than he did. Other than that, it was very good to see them respecting the original source material, and this episode very much follows the original source material. Like with The Last of Us, they are changing quite a lot of things, but these last two episodes are more or less just beat for beat like recreations from the game, and it's really good. I really liked what they did with Joel. They added a bit more to his scene. We saw Joel take people out. I thought they could have done a bit more with Joel though, as the scenes were great with him taking the first guy out, Joel setting a trap so he can take the other guys out, and we get the torture scene ripped straight out from the game. But then after that, Joel really does nothing right until the end of the episode. And he just kind of walks straight through the entire town where people want to kill him, even the kids want to kill him, with no problem to go get Ellie, and they just walk off with no issues. And it made the town feel very dead. That's really the only big issue I have with this episode, is that the town feels dead, it feels very lifeless, and Joel has no issue to get to Ellie. And I definitely think what we should have had is when Ellie is fighting David, Joel should have been fighting other people, so you have both the characters struggling to try and reunite to make their final moment right at the end of the episode feel ever so much more worth it, because they've both just been through hell to get back to each other. And all they had to do was have maybe 1, 2 or 3 characters come out from the buildings and try and fight Joel. He kills them so he can get to Ellie, and everyone else backs off. I feel like something simple like that would have just made Joel struggle to Ellie a bit better. It just felt way too easy for Joel. But everything over on the Ellie side of this story is just absolute perfection. It's ripped straight out of the game. Shot for shot recreations like Ellie meeting David, Ellie and David's scene when she's in the cage. Ellie shouting about she's infected, and Ellie and David's final fight. All of it just shot for shot recreations, word for word, and it's just absolutely perfection. I have no issues with this part of the episode. This is one of the first episodes when I'm actually happy with the way it ended and it met my expectations. So I am very, very happy with this episode. The acting is also great. I really, really like Pedro Pascal in the torture scene. Really, really works. And it's very weird because I just recently watched the Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. So watch him in that and then come back and watch him in this. You're like, how are they the same person? And you're like, Pedro Pascal has some talent. He has got such good talent. Even Bella Ramsey, her scenes are absolutely fantastic. Everyone is on the top of their game. There is no Kathleen type characters which are super wooden and bad. It is just mwah. That's all I can say. So let's move over to my one sentence last word over review. And straight up, this is a great episode. Okay, I can't say anything else. This is definitely one of my favourite episodes, but I would not say my favourite episode so far. I would have to give this a 9 out of 10. There's only one fault in this entire episode, and that is going to be Joel just had it too easy to get to Ellie, and the set felt very dead. Other than that, it's an absolute perfect episode. It's paced right, it looks amazing, and it's well acted, and they told the story in such a good and streamlined way. And what is your opinions? I'll let know your thoughts on anything down below. Did you like the episode? Did you hate the episode? What would you rate it out of 10? But this is it for me today, so if you want more Last of Us content, make sure to like and subscribe to help out the channel and keep up to date with all reviews. So goodbye, peace out, and I'll talk to you in my next video.